Hola amigos, bien o no, y saludos desde Inglaterra. Hoy no tengo un tema por el vídeo exactamente, pero yo voy a compartir un poquito con este libro con ustedes, um, porque creo que también es muy útil para practicar escuchando, especialmente cuando hay, por supuesto, muchos palabras nuevos aquí en este texto. Solo un ejercicio para escuchar y si puedes pensar si tú puedes entender en total el texto, igual si hay nuevas palabras, especialmente escuchar y mirar si es posible para hacer después un resumen con el tema en general. No un ejercicio para traducir, pero si tú puedes decir algo en resumen en qué pasó en esta leyendo hoy. Ese es el idea de hoy. So, hello again from England. I don't really have a theme today, but instead, I'm going to share you a reading from this book. Really because it's a bit difficult and a bit unusual. So I'm going to read the first two paragraphs from the introduction. So this is talking about, well, early Greek philosophy. So we're looking about the period 585 BC, thereabouts. And it's a very brief, the bit we're going to read is a very brief introduction of some of the names of the people involved and where it happened and what happened. Now this does include some quite unusual words, because really this is, as you might expect, perhaps something of an academic text. So the style is a bit unusual. The idea with this is to see if you can listen to it and understand enough of what's being said to be able to offer a kind of resume or a summary of what you've heard without having to translate it. So can you, from what you're going to hear, can you give a summary to someone else about, oh, I heard this and this is talking about these 3 or 4 main things. That's the thing to practice with this type of reading. So, here we go, the introduction. The first philosophers. According to tradition, Greek philosophy began in 585 BC and ended in AD 529. It began when Thales of Miletus, the first Greek philosopher, predicted an eclipse of the sun. It ended when the Christian emperor Justinian forbade the teaching of pagan philosophy in the University of Athens. The tradition is a simplification. Greeks had entertained philosophical thoughts before 585 BC, and Justinian's edict, whatever its intention, did not bring pagan philosophy to a sudden stop. But the traditional dates stand as convenient and memorable boundaries to the career of ancient philosophy. The 1,000 years of that career divide into 3 periods of unequal duration. First, there were the Salad years, from 585 until about 400 BC, when a sequence of green and genial individuals established the scope and determined the problems of philosophy and began to develop its conceptual equipment and to fix its structure. Then came the period of the schools, the period of Plato and Aristotle, of the Epicureans and the Stoics, and of the Skeptics, in which elaborate systems of thought were worked out and subjected to strenuous criticism. And this second period ended in about 100 BC. The long third period was marked in the main by scholarship and syncretism. The latter thinkers studied their predecessors' writing with assiduity. They produced commentaries and interpretations, and they attempted to extract a coherent and unified system of thought which would include all that was best in the earlier doctrines of the schools. Okay, so I think you'll agree there's some unusual words there, yeah? So when you come across readings like this, or if you're listening to stuff like this, remember, at the beginning, it's not about a translation as such. It's enough that could you summarize in your own words, briefly and quite simply, ideally, what you just heard about there, or what you just read there. If you can get practice at doing that, this is going to help you a lot. It's a test for your vocabulary, but if you can take complicated ideas or complicated ways of describing an idea, simplify it into a nice easy way of explaining it, it's a good practice. Give it a go. See what you think. Déjame saber en los comentarios, como siempre. But for now, we'll say cheerio.